We're back for Your Ears Only. I'm David Alpern.
I'm Melissa Hexelberth with a quote from the news. We ended up creating one of the most hated tools in the advertiser's toolkit. That was Ethan Zuckerman, head of the Center for Civic Media at MIT, in an essay at the Atlantic Magazine website on the code he developed for pop-up ads to help companies get their ads seen without actually linking them to web pages whose content customers might find objectionable. I'm sorry, he wrote. Our intentions were good. Now this.
We're in the computer age, where we headed for. Internet is all the rage, where we headed for. Cyberspace is really red, but it seems to be partly good and partly bad, I think. Scrolling down computer screens till our eyes are red. E-commerce and e-scenes, we should be in bed holding each other tight. Not cyber surfing all night.
The late Susanna McCorkle was an early adopter of mixed feelings about the new technology, and things have only gotten more confusing since then, with more and more things you can see and do with digital assistants, and more digital intrusion on our privacy and reshaping of our lives in matters of work, travel, shopping, education, romance, even the very way our brains work.
Where are we headed for? One vision emerges in a recent book, Pardon the Disruption, The Future You Never Saw Coming, by three self-styled futurists, Houston attorney Clayton Rawlings, municipal court judge James Randall Smith, and North Carolina economic analyst Rob Bensini. And to say more about it for Your Ears Only, Clay Rawlings is on the line now. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm proud to be here.
First, tell us how you all became interested in the impact of technology and got together to write about it.
Well, Randy and I have been lifelong friends. We're both ex-DAs for Harris County, and I took the Strategic Foresight Seminar through the University of Houston. It's a week-long program under Dr. Bishop in May of 2010, and that's where I met Rob Bensini, and we've been friends ever since.
Well, let's look at some of the particular threats you consider, beginning with the way you say texting and social media are actually making us less social with impaired verbal communication skills. Say more.
Right, David. With these massively powerful communication tools, the idea was we'll become closer. We'll be able to communicate more, so there'll be more understanding. And the reality, if you're sitting in a restaurant, you look around, you will see people sitting at tables texting and administering their social media and ignoring the human being that is sitting at the table with them. And, I mean, in our home, I have a strict rule. The phones go away when we're sitting down for dinner. But also, it has divided us into groups, and it's called the confirmational bias. If you think, one way, you'll find other people that think that way, and then you'll all be trading stories, reconfirming to each other that you're right. And so we have all these little groups that have alienated themselves from the rest of, the social structure. And then when you look at Twitter, you get, 136 characters. So the conversation is banal. People are telling you what they ate for breakfast. Who cares? But deep communication, true, sincere sharing between two human beings has somehow been lost in all of this.
Talk about big data and the loss of privacy, what we say about ourselves every time we click to look, listen, or buy online.
Melissa, that is one of the biggest threats we're looking at. And it's not the Orwellian hell where jackbooted thugs kicked your door down and put a camera in your living room. Instead, technology stripped us of our privacy, and we were willing participants, as well as the Supreme Court of the United States. They ushered in every single thing that happened. Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, estimated that from the dawn of recorded history to 2003, we created 5 exabytes of data. That's a 5 with 18 zeros behind it. It's a very big number. However, in 2010, we were making 5 exabytes of data every 2 days. And now in 2014, we're making 5 exabytes of data every 10 minutes. That's an example of an exponential progression. The number is enormous, but all that data flows past us as noise. None of us can use it, but governments and entities like Google with massive mainframes store all that data, and they engage in what's called data mining. They don't need to listen to your phone conversation to know everything about you. They will look at your credit card history. They'll look at your cell phone locations you are, who the numbers are that you're calling, and by assembling this, they will know your ideology. They'll know how you feel about your government. They'll know if you own a gun. They will know more about you than your next-door neighbor could possibly know. And all of this can be done without listening to a single conversation. It is massively intrusive, and until most recently when the Supreme Court said that the police have to get a search warrant before they can peruse through your cell phone, that is the first time in the last 20 years I've seen the Supreme Court finally get it and start to push back on this.
Well, I'm glad you got into that area. As a lawyer, you're particularly sensitive to the way our legal system is being eroded, outmoded, or sidestepped by high tech. Give us an example of that.
Perfect example. Many states have gambling against the law, okay? And I don't want to get into should they outlaw it or shouldn't they. I don't care. If a state has outlawed it, it is a sovereign state. It should be able to enforce its law. It can't. There are gambling casinos in Costa Rica that are internet gambling sites. It's legal in Costa Rica. So now in every home in America, a gambling casino is 2 clicks of a mouse away in every living room in America. And there is nothing the states can do to stop this. It also rolled over with pornography. But before people say, well, Clay, wait a minute, that's just information, so I'm not worried about that in terms of my sovereignty. I'm still safe in my home. That was true until the advent of the 3D printer. And unfortunately, a law student at the University of Texas, in an act of utter irresponsibility, put an information file on so the 3D printer will make a fully operational gun. And so, without getting into should we have gun control or not have gun control, if a state passes a law saying convicted felons cannot have guns, a convicted felon with a 3D printer in his garage can manufacture as many guns as he wants. We can't regulate this. We can't stop. We are losing control of our ability to govern ourselves.
Houston attorney Clay Rawlings is a co-author of Pardon the Disruption, The Future You Never Saw Coming from Wasteland Press. Check it out at Amazon.com and Facebook.com/Pardon the Disruption, all one word.
We're in the computer age. Gotta go, I don't know where to.
Quote from the news, extremely dangerous, worse than GM's issue. That was the conclusion of a complaint to the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, among at least 240, about power, safety, and security failures in Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep vehicles linked to their total integrated power module, about which a 2013 class action suit also was filed.
Next, Living September Song, Love That Conquers the Age Gap, for your ears only.